What's your favorite browser? Do you like Chrome or Firefox or Safari?
None of the above. None of the above.
Tell me.
I live in a land where Brave browser rules, and that is the browser that I use.
You're so brave for trying a new frontier. Should we talk about it?
Let's chat about it. Let me take you on the Brave journey. So Brave browser is the browser that I use, and it's the difference between using a Web 2 and a Web 3 browser. And I know we talked about Web 3 extensively. It's pretty much everything that we talk about on this channel, but there are some people that probably are like, okay, I hear the term Web 3 and don't know what it means. Just very quickly, like Web 2 is the version of the internet that most people recognize today. Web 3 is like Web 2 built on top of blockchain. Like it's the most simple way to explain it. And it's based on companies that provide services to exchange your personal data. That's what happens in Web 2. So for instance, Facebook, you input your information into Facebook to create a profile, and then you can do all the things that you want on Facebook. And then what Facebook does is they take that data and they sell it and they weaponize it against you. And that is common with what happens in Web 2 because there's a lot of transfer of the personal data. That's how those systems run.
Mark Zuckerberg eats your data for dinner.
He sure does. He absolutely does. And when we talk about the switch to Web 3, it's the new version, which focuses more on decentralization, which if you don't know what decentralization is, we had a great video come out recently about a bunch of different terms in Web 3, so we'll definitely link that below. But the Web 3 focuses on decentralization, and it really is focused on data privacy. So that's a huge shift that you see between Web 2 and Web 3 is that Web 3 decentralized, and there's more privacy included in the technology itself. This is why I believe in Web 3. This is why I'm passionate about decentralized technology, and what kind of got me into the NFT space as a whole is that it's censorship resistant. So if we take Twitter today, for instance, if you post something on your account that goes against their policies, their views, regardless of free speech, they can censor you. They can take that down. Google can do the same thing. Let's say you use the entire Google suite of products from email to document, calendar, all that good stuff. And you go ahead and you sign up for an account on some other website. This website is using SSO or single sign-on, asking you to input your Google credentials to create the account on their product. They decide that they no longer like you. You not only lose access to that entire Google suite of products, but the accounts that you've created on these other external sites that you use your Google credentials to sign in on. So it can really back you into a corner if some of these products decide to censor you or shut down your access.
Yes, I don't know if anybody else has had this experience, but I use single sign-on with Facebook for a while, and there are times where I became so addicted to Facebook that I would delete my account so I could be free of it, and then I would have to sign back in order to sign into other applications where I was using their Facebook sign-in button. That is what she is talking about. And if you've been through that user experience, you know how much that makes you want to light things on fire. It's very irritating.
Yes. And from a sense of like personal security online, I think it's better to just create your own login. So that way, if someone hacks the one account that you're using that username and password for, it's restricted that hacking to that singular product and not all across these other products that you use that same login.
Right.
So that's just like basic internet security 101, but try to avoid SSO if at all possible. But that's one way in which Web 2 can inhibit how you do the internet, basically, and how Web 3 doesn't focus on that. Another thing that Web 3 can enable and make a little bit more free is just payments in general, because it does not take any sort of personal data to transact a payment on the blockchain. So if we think about in the world of Web 2, this is just an example. I do not know if this is an actual scenario, so just brand name examples. But let's say I have an OnlyFans account and I'm getting paid out on OnlyFans and Stripe is the payment processor. But Stripe has a policy against adult entertainment or whatever that is. So they decide to not process that payment because they see that the transaction is coming from OnlyFans. I, as the OnlyFans, like independent account person, am not getting paid because Stripe at the transactional level has decided it's against their policy to do that. Whereas again, in Web3, that can't happen because that personal data just isn't there. And then the last point that I wanted to go over on Web 2 versus Web 3 is just overall servers. And so this is what we really mean when we talk about centralized versus decentralized. Web 2 servers, they can go up and down like a single point of failure because they are using like one server on the back end. Whereas opposed to Web 3 and decentralized technology, that backend is a decentralized network of like thousands of computers. And so that's what makes up that backend, that server side of blockchain technology, and what ultimately makes it decentralized.
Now that that was a mouthful. Now that we know all about server backends.
I can't be
Nerd alert. She was so into that, you guys.
I was. Okay, moving on. We're here to talk about Web3 browsers. And on the screen, you see Brave, which we know is the browser that I use. There are other browsers in the space that exist, and a few of those are Opera crypto browser, and we'll link all these below. I'm not going to spend time talking about these. Puma is another browser, and then Beaker is the last browser that I'm aware of. But again, my preferred is Brave, and it's just because it's the one that I learned about first, and I think it supports how I use the internet best in terms of just its features. So
I like that the logo is a lion because it's actually the opposite of brave. Like you are want to tell anybody anything. It's kind of like the cowardly lion because you're brave enough to take on Google and they are like the government. Maybe. Anyway.
So here is the Brave marketing site. Brave itself was founded in May of 2015. The CEO is Brendan Eich, who's actually out of Mozilla. So he has some browser chops behind him. And then the CTO is a guy by the name of Brian Bondi. And I don't know much about his background, but they launched their first version of this product in January of 2016. So it's been around for a few years, and they've definitely iterated on features and have certainly added to the product line here. It's built on top of Chromium. And so if you're not familiar with Chromium, it is an open source project that's behind Google Chrome. And so they built on top of this open source, decentralized, so that Brave, anybody can check their code, do any sort of audit at any point in time. But this is
in my mind right now.
Yeah. So this is
what? This is news to me. So I'm shocked to hear this open source Chrome thing here. What?
Yeah.
What's happening?
Get wild. It'll be linked below. Be linked below for everyone.
All you nerds who want to check it out.
Yeah. So a few other things about Brave and why it, like the product itself is my preferred, is that it's ad free. The browser itself is free. It should always be free. They're not planning to monetize in any time in the near future. It can be supported by multiple search engines. So mine is set up to default to Brave search, but you can actually use Chrome and DuckDuckGo and a few other browsers or search engines. And we'll talk about that in a second.
Hold up. If it's free, how do they monetize?
They have ads that you can turn on. And that ad revenue, part of it goes to Brave, part of it goes to whoever's ad it is. And then you as the user, for having turned on that option, get paid out in what's called BAT, a bought attention token. And so you actually get paid for viewing the ads. And as the user, I think it's a 15% payout to the user for turning those ads on. So that's what their model is. And we'll talk a little bit more about Brave Search and how all of that works from an engine standpoint, but that's how they monetize. And then other things about this, it's safer than Chrome and Firefox. They have these security shields, and I can show you how many shields have protected me. We'll look at that in a second. And it uses less RAM, and the page loads faster than other browsers. So think about it. If you have ads turned off, it's going to already minimize that page load time because they don't have to load all these ads. So faster and uses less RAM. So performance is better on your machine. And then it also supports a Tor browser, which you can actually see up here in my window right now. So I can easily access Tor, which is pretty cool. The Brave Search doesn't track anything, like not your queries, your searches, or your clicks. And so it makes it impossible for them to monetize your data as opposed to the different browsers in Web 2, because that's how they function.
Right. That's why I asked the monetization question.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a super important question to ask. And then the results are transparent. And so Brave doesn't use any sort of like secret methods or algorithms. They rely on anonymous community contributions to basically refine the results and build models off of that. So there's a community behind that helping supply the information to create out the search results. Let's see what else. They do have a built-in password manager. I don't typically use that. And then they also have free video calls that we'll take a look at. And then the other thing that they have is an offline playlist, which is really cool. So
Whatever do you mean?
I get into a little bit of everything. I can access an offline playlist through the browser on mobile, which is a really cool feature that I've not seen, I don't think, in any other browser. So we'll show a quick video of that.
Very cool.
I've been using Brave for all of the videos that we have recorded. I have Brave open on the screen right now, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open a new tab. So this is what I see when I open up a new tab of Brave. And Lux, you may recognize this sort of
I do.
background. So this is an NFT that I own. When you use Brave, you can totally customize your homepage and what you want your dashboard to look like. And that's what I've done here. Yeah. So this is, for those of you who don't know, this is an NFT. The project is called The Heist. And the artwork is just stunning. It's all these badass women with different types of weapons. They're working on the storyline for all of this. It's just, I really like the artwork. So that's what I said is my background.
Yeah, they're a very slow and steady project. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
I just like watching them work.
Yep. So some basic things that we see here on the site. These are some of the most used sites that I go to. I set these as common ones that I can easily click on, and it will link me out to that page. Pretty straightforward. The other things on this page, clock. This is Brave Talk, so I can actually do video calls much like Google does in their browser. They just have their own. This is where I can go and edit all the information that's on here. Customize will do the same thing. This is Brave Talk. And then bookmarks. And then the last thing on this page is the data from Brave itself, showing the work it's doing for me through my own browser. So it saved me 2.5 hours. It saved me 5.35 gigs just in bandwidth saved. And then these are all of the trackers and ads that have been blocked.
What a great way to show your value.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And there's a lot that you can do within like the product itself. So I'm going to do that. And you can see everything is really easy to edit, to add, to remove.
Yeah.
Super intuitive. Customize. This is all of the visual stuff. So this is how I added my NFT, the background. You can turn on Brave News. I don't have this set just because I haven't curated the news itself. But if I did have that, it would show down at the bottom of the screen here. Top sites, I just put favorites instead of my frequently visited because I don't want you guys to see the weird stuff that I go to often. And then
probably on OnlyFans all the time.
Yeah.
Uploading yourself. No, I'm kidding.
Then we have clock, and then the cards here are the information that you see on the side. So that is just the basic UI to the browser itself. And then we can get into the deeper stuff and the settings itself. And so this is where you can go in and control all of the important things. Let's see. They also have additional extensions that you can add to your browser. So these are the extensions that I have installed through Brave here. This Mask Network is a new extension that I'm playing around with that I just became exposed to through this browser. And it basically sits on top of social networks to give it a more Web3 decentralized experience and allows for me to actually encrypt messages in these social platforms. So if I go to our Probably Degen site, because I have this extension dialed in, I can access the Mask Network here. And if I go to Jameson Hill here, who is the founder or creator behind Shell's Orbs, what it's doing, it's hard to see on the screen here, but because of this Mask Network, it's telling me that this is an actual NFT. This is the value of it, and it's a Shell's Orb number 3915.
You have so much intel that I don't have. Guess what I'm going to be doing after this? Downloading Brave.
Yeah, but it's so powerful what you can do through these Web3 browsers.
Okay.
It's just an example.
Okay, I have to ask the question. The main reason that I haven't gone into the Web3 browser experience is because I cannot depart with my Google Chrome DevTools.
Mm-hmm.
What is the situation with DevTools? Do you know? I don't want to embarrass myself on the whole internet and say that almost every website I go to, I take a quick peek at the code. See, this is just like the output, but when you are in, oh, yay.
Yeah, so it still has everything, and it's because it's built on top of Chromium.
Right, so it's in here. Well, goodbye, Chromium.
Here we go. Yeah. I have the one thing, like sometimes I have a hard time with search results or having a hard time with sites working correctly because I have so many like different security layers set up. So when I was going through this last night, where was I? In Shield, I went ahead and I turned on block scripts because I'm like, I don't want scripts. And then it actually restricts JavaScript. So that didn't work. So I had to turn that.
Yes.
I had to turn that one off. But aside from that, I pretty much do the standard, but you can get more aggressive with a lot of these things. And so the trackers is you can get really specific by creating different filter lists to filter out content if you want. Blocking social media, same thing. I've allowed some of them. Privacy and security, this is where things get pretty serious here. So I don't even allow Google services to send me any sort of messages. And you can connect to IPFS if you would like as well from a storage standpoint. Brave does have a wallet, and this is what you would need to set up in order to get that BAT, that bot attention token. I don't use the wallet, and I'm not actually receiving ads today. It's just not something that I am interested in my browser doing, but I think it's a really cool capability. But for as like secure and as intense as this browser can be, the fact that you can just very intuitively go through this, it's pretty easy to figure out like what you're turning on and off and making sure that everything is set up in a way that makes sense for you.
I love this. I think this is a great product. Thank you for introducing it to me and to the audience.
Yeah. I made sure to not have this set up, but if there's ever a browser update, it's pretty obvious to tell. And if you go back and watch some of our old videos, you'll see that I need to update my browser because it will literally say up in the upper right corner here, update. And it will start off green when the update's just been released. And then it goes to like
Anger mode
when it's like, hey, you got to update. And then it will finally turn red. And it's like, homie, do the thing. And then at some point I'll update it. But
nice.
Yeah, this is Brave browser. Oh, one other thing. Yeah, that I really wanted to show. Search engine. So this is where a lot of people may be like, I don't want to use Brave search because I'm used to the sorts of results that I get. So you can actually set your preferred engine in this browser. So you can see I have mine on both normal and private to set up as Brave, but I can opt between Google, DuckDuckGo, Quant, Bing, Start Page, and Ecosia as well.
Do you feel like the Brave search engine is comparable to Google?
I think I definitely get different results, but I think the results I get are relevant. Okay. If I ever really have an issue, I don't really think that I'm finding what I need, then if I'm on my phone, open up Safari or whatever, Chrome on my desktop here. But I try not to rely on them. And there have been a handful of times where I've used Chrome with my MetaMask to access Web3. It was the other side demo. They said it wouldn't work in Brave, even though it did. And so I went ahead and I set myself up to run through that demo and that experience in Chrome just because I didn't want to miss out. So I do have my Chrome browser set up to be Web3 compatible. It's just not my preference. It's not how I want my data to be served up. And so I always pivot back to Brave and only rely on those browsers if I absolutely have to.
Right on.
All right. What are your thoughts?
Oh, I'm absolutely going to download it. I don't know what's going on with my voice here, but yeah, no, I didn't realize how advanced it was. I thought it would be a little bit more janky knowing you were going to show me this today because I have been through the launch of, I think, every major browser as a card-carrying elder millennial who works in tech. So when I hear there's a new browser, I'm like, tell me when it's fully baked. But this is fully baked. It looks really good.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. I would highly recommend it, though this is not financial advice. And on that note, if you guys enjoy this type of information and content, please be sure to subscribe because we put out new videos every Wednesday and Saturday.
That's right.
Follow us on social media because when we're not posting videos online, we are on the Twitter and on Instagram trying to connect with the community out there. So we appreciate, please say hi because we appreciate every second that you spend with us in this little weird Degen corner of the internet that we call ours. And thanks so much. We'll see you in the next video.
Ciao.
Bye.